I kept seeing these interactive notebooks on TikTok all last summer, and I knew that for the school year, I wanted to implement this in my own way. So I made an interactive science notebook this year to store some of our work from our unit studies. This year we did Me and My Place in Space and Me and My Amazing Body from Little School of Smiths. We also did a little bit of the Blossom and Root science, but I put them all in this science notebook, and I thought this was just the coolest way of like record keeping and also just like keeping all of the fun little art projects that we did along the way. So I used just a regular marble notebook, and what I did first was I made a table of contents. So I figured that this could grow with us. It's not just something that we could throw out after 1 year. We could just keep adding to the notebook, and I've even seen teachers, when they fill it up, they attach a second notebook to it and make like a jumbo notebook. So I thought that that was super cool, just a nice way of storing all of our stuff and not just throwing it out when we're done with the unit study. So I made a table of contents, and I just plan on writing the date and what year we were in, what grade level, and what unit we're doing. And then I just made the cover on Canva, and then I used tape, like packing tape, to secure it on so that this way it kind of like laminates it. And then the trick with these science notebooks is that everything that you have to print out has to be printed at 80%. So you do it on the computer, you take your normal PDF of whatever it is, and then you just print it at 80%. And then I like to use a glue stick because it doesn't make the paper curl as much as, let's say, like wet glue does. And I just glue stick it down. Now for the actual like cover pages, all I did was I took the cover, I printed it at 80%, and I made a little template on Canva that had the tabs so that no matter like what I'm starting, I could just put the cover on it and then edit the little tab, and then it could go right in the notebook. So that was really easy. And again, you just want to print this at 80%. I glue sticked it in, and then I took my packing tape and I secured the tabs so that this way they don't get worn down or ripped off during, going back and forth into the bookshelf. Now, because this notebook had a lot of different mediums and we did a lot of like science projects with like actual stuff, it's kind of thick, but if you were just using like paper, it probably would lay a little bit flatter. Now, in the beginning of our space study, I did use a couple of the lessons from Blossom and Root. That was my original intention for this year, but I'm going to make another video comparing the Blossom and Root space science to the Little School of Smiths. It's very similar, but it also has its major differences. So we started kind of in the same place, but I wanted to set the scene a little bit more and slow it down just to like really get us into that true space study. So we made little astronauts of ourselves. And then on the next page, we did a little magazine collage of what we would bring to space. And then we did a lesson on how our planet supports life and the 3 things we need in order to support life: living things, non-living things. We went through all of those like little sciencey topics. And once I felt like we had set the scene, that's when we really started Me and My Place in Space. Now, this isn't one of those scripted curriculums. This is more of like a feast, and you pick what you want to do. So it gives you spines, it gives you a book list, it gives you videos, it gives you the art projects and the crafts, and the schedule is kind of loose. You could do whatever you want. A lot of the supplies you're already going to have at home. I know I did, and every unit is going to be a different focus. So I really liked that. We did 1 lesson a week, so we really just focused on one planet a week or one little part of space a week. So we started out with the sun, and I made them do their little craft project of whatever the planet was or the part of space was. And then in our notebook, it was a half sheet of construction paper, and I would glue down our project, and then they would write one little fact. Now, this Order of the Planets page, this is from Blossom and Root, and then our little solar system was from Magic Playbook. So I really compiled just a whole bunch of resources, and I just kept them in this little notebook, and we just made it work. And now here is where we're going to go through all of the different planets, and you can see all the different mediums that we used, and I really, really loved this. I just made them write a little fact on an index card, and then we glued that on as well. And we had so much fun with this. It kind of checked the box for art as well, because we had a whole bunch of art mediums in here that we got to explore about and learn about. And I also really like that there were a bunch of experiments, but the experiments, those are the memories, but this is like the tangible stuff that they could look back on and be like, oh, I remember when we made this. Now, Me and My Amazing Body followed a very similar structure. It had your spines, it had your videos, it had your activities, and then it also had your little projects that you would do for each of the different systems in your body. I really loved that. I love that we got to do one lesson a week, really deep dive, focus on it, watch our videos, read our books, and then this is our little memory. So the first week, we just kind of labeled all the parts of our body. I printed a little picture of them and they labeled themselves. The next, we learned about our 5 senses. So this is a little flipper where they had to like draw something underneath. And again, with the paper stuff, you could really store it very nicely in the notebook. You just cut it so it fits. This was our little skeleton guy that we made with Q-tips, and our little joint activity with straws. This was super fun. The kids loved this. We learned about veins and we did some leaf tracing so you could see the veins. Our favorite was the lungs because we used invisible ink and that was super duper fun. And the last one is little germs. So I'm really excited to continue growing this science notebook. I think it's going to be really fun when we do have a science project or something that we could just slap in here, and then you can see progress throughout the years. It's also really good record keeping because it's just enough for like a little science portfolio without you having to like hold on to experiments or anything like that. So let me know if this is something that you plan on using this year. I really like it. I also used it for our read alouds, and I have an art notebook that we're starting. So this was super fun, and I definitely recommend you guys try it out.